Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today, Thursday morning, June 3rd. I was about to call it Black Monday in June on a Thursday, but June 3rd, 2021, the man they call Meathead, with the man they call Matthew Thomas. Matthew, we have some stuff to talk about, but good morning, Matthew.
Yeah, it's a good thing we did all of our homework assignments because slow news day, right?
We ended yesterday's show with, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? We'll come up with something. That's
My
literally what we
goodness.
said, isn't it?
My goodness, yeah, you're spot on.
Well, let's be spot on about who our sponsor is and the new gear they have.
Well, they fit you spot on. It fits you. My collar and elbow gear fits me better than just about any article of clothing that I have, and it's so comfortable. It is so very, very comfortable. A lot of people were saying we were going to get some official government reports about UFOs yesterday. That didn't happen.
Again?
But if you want a little preview of the stuff that they've ascertained from those UFOs, man, I don't think the clothing of Collar and Elbow is actually Earth made. It's that comfortable. collarandelbowbrand.com. Save 10% with promo code Linda K. And you spell that K, K-A-Y, not just K. Yes, there is a K in the name, but it's K-A-Y. You don't stop when you get to the K. You keep going.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Exactly.
Well, Matthew, let's get right to it. Let's talk the big news. We joked again yesterday morning about how we were going to have nothing to talk about, and then they treat, Wednesday, June 1st, as another Black Monday. It is Thursday morning now, June 2nd. I mean, we've all heard who's been cut and released, and let's go over it, okay? The biggest name I got to say on the entire list is Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman has been cut and released. Set free to explore other employment opportunities. Matthew, we're going to go over the list in a second here, but I want you to wax poetic on first the Braun Strowman release.
Outside of somebody that they've had to let go due to disciplinary actions or scandal, this is probably the biggest surprise as it pertains to position on the card in a release that I can ever recall. Braun Strowman was in your main event for the WWE pay-per-view in on the main event for the WWE title in your last pay-per-view event. I mean, he was, recently at the top of the card. And this is the guy that they put. WWE had invested a lot in this guy that consistently had been at the top of the card the last handful of years. He was the guy that went over Goldberg at WrestleMania last year in 2020. And keep in mind, I mean, that Goldberg push, Goldberg had beaten the unstoppable Brock Lesnar. I mean, that if you're going from basically, the momentum from this guy to that guy to that guy, Strowman was the guy.
Which we've been talking about for 10, 15 years now.
Yeah, that took a lot of that momentum from Lesnar ending the streak and then getting beat by Goldberg. And
in under 5 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, and just that's a surprise, man. That is one of the biggest, honestly, as far as out of the blue releases, that's probably one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprise that, I've ever run across as far as the WWE release.
Okay, we spent a little time on Braun, and I did that on purpose. I want to go over the rest of the list now. Another surprise I thought was Alistair Black.
Yeah.
Also, Lana, Murphy, Ruby Riott, and Santana Garrett. Santana Garrett from NXT as well. I found it ironic that Ruby Riott was released singularly and not Liv Tyler as well. Or am I saying it right? Oh my God. Liv Taylor? Is it Liv Tyler?
Liv Tyler up. Wait a minute. Liv Tyler.
No, Liv Tyler, Steven Tyler's daughter.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan. Yeah. You got me so confused now.
You got me crazy.
Exactly.
Crazy. But I found it odd that she was released separately. Murphy, I think, was the easiest one to accept because after the Mysterio line where he was dating Aaliyah, Ray's daughter, there was nothing going on there. And not that these people are not talented. Okay, let's make sure that's absolutely clear. Absolutely talented. But if we're looking at names that are going to get cut, and what they're doing on TV, I understand Ruby Riott somewhat. I understand Murphy, Santana Garrett. I understand, but Lana was working. Lana was she was kind of getting over. Lana was teaming up with Naomi, I believe, right? Feel the Glow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, featured on Raw this past week, as well as Ruby Riott featured on, was it SmackDown or was it Raw? SmackDown, right?
I think it was SmackDown in a tag team match.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk Alistair Black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alistair Black had these amazing promos the last 3 to 4 weeks. The character, how his father taught him, whatever, and then debuts 2 weeks ago and goes after Big E. All right, great. We're going to go to a program right away with Alistair Black and Big E, and this is the most heavy metal guy on the roster, right? They don't do anything last week Friday with him. We think, okay, they're going to let it just rest for a bit, and then we're assuming we're going to see it this week, and then poof, gone.
Yeah, right in the middle of a push. I mean, several weeks of vignettes, and then he debuts and then he's gone. It is the most.
It's not the first time we've ever seen that happen. Let's get that part clear as well. But this is surprising.
First time in recent memory. I mean, it's one of the more significant start-stops that we've got.
Here's the thing. So we're going to talk about this other story here, and we're going to bring it back into the talent that were released. The ratings are in for Monday night's show for Raw on Memorial Day. They have never had lower numbers in the history of Raw that they have had this Monday. The third hour, 1.168 viewers. They lost viewers throughout the show because nobody wants to watch it. It's 3 hours. They're already low on talent, so the main event, the top of the card, is very light, and now they cut out players. Alistair Black could have been a main eventer. Braun Strowman was just recently on the main event with Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley. Here's the thing, and again, this is not talking down Braun Strowman. This is not talking down Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley. I don't believe that in the Attitude Era, these guys would have been on the main event level. These guys are not Rocks and Austins and Triple H's and Stone Colds, okay? They're solid mid-card and, lower upper card, guys that can mix it up with the top-level guys. But because they are so thin in talent because of what happened in the COVID era, they have 3 hours of show to put on a Monday night, 2 hours of show on a Friday night, and now they're cutting more talent. I do not want to watch The Miz every hour. I do not want to watch on SmackDown Roman Reigns every 45 minutes or every 30 minutes. That's what they're regulating themselves to, is that they only have 5 or 6 players to stretch out for 2 damn hours or even 3 hours.
Yeah, you're consistently having to stretch these segments out, or what we have gotten the last several weeks of going to the back.
We've talked about this for the last year and a half.
Yeah,
where they're only highlighting 10 characters on the show, and they're lighting them up again. Where they're repeating segments. You had that MVP Miz segment go on for 3 hours.
Yeah, and let's go to the back with MVP, Lashley, and the group of women. That's kind of been their wheelhouse the last several weeks. And, you've got, and then look at the stuff that has been working that they have just taken out of nowhere. How, the Hurt Business, they're gone. The T-Bar and Retribution. Yeah, they were with MVP and Lashley for a week or two. They're gone. It's just the lack of sequential. There's lack of sequential storytelling, and there's what just feels like lazy stuff. I mean, 2 weeks ago we got McIntyre, Kofi. Oh, well, we're going to really have the match next week because we had interference. And they seem to just be...
That's not lazy. They're stretching out a story.
Stretching all this stuff out. And it's more or less, Strowman was thrown in there, but it's more or less been Lashley and McIntyre in that title picture the last 3 months since WrestleMania. And not that the matches are not good, but it's not because the story is captivating. It's because who else are you going to run at the top of the card?
Here's the other thing too. And, way back in the Attitude Era, we complained that the matches weren't long enough. You might've got 6 minutes for TV and that was it. Matches never went over a commercial break ever. They have to take all these matches over the commercial break because they have nothing else.
Yeah. No, very true. What was it, man? Was it the Usos tag team match on Friday that when you're done with the opening segment and the actual match, we were like 35, 40 minutes into the
Right.
show. And
We love
not,
wrestling. All
yeah,
right. We love wrestling. But it's enough already. I need more segments. I mean, the Vince Russo era was called Crash TV.
yeah,
Okay, so you were just throwing stuff at the wall and you were just getting all this stuff. But for the love of God, man, this is enough.
yeah. And it doesn't help the process either that you're still in the Thunderdome, that you're not back on the road again.
That won't make it better. Let's make
But
that part exactly clear.
and the thing of it is like what. Oh my goodness! I mean, stop and think about this too. They've got a year and a half of no audience reaction to what. I mean, are they looking at ratings to gauge what's working and what's not?
I
Or are
hope
they,
not,
or
because
are
again,
they in, yeah.
Matthew, look at the
no?
18 to 49 demo. 0.44 in the third hour. 0.44. I could fart for an hour and draw more ratings.
That's not I don't think that's a stretch.
Public access shows have more than 0.44. No one cares. And, they're going on the road. We're all excited to go see them on the road. Yes, but you know what? That special effect will only last for a little bit.
Yeah. And, I think it's going to be an interesting barometer once we see them get in front of a crowd again and see what is working and what's not working so well.
Okay. Now, the prerequisite question that we have to ask before I go to comments from CM Punk as well. Do any of these names, Strowman, Black, Lana, Murphy, Ruby Riott, Santana Garrett, we have to ask it. Do they end up in TNA? Do they end up in AEW? AEW's got a new show coming called Rampage soon. Yep. Do these talents get signed elsewhere?
Lana goes to AEW. I think that is probably the easiest gimme. I can see Black there as well, too. Interestingly enough, Strowman in Impact, that feels like a piece that fits. But yeah, I mean, I think AEW makes plays for all of the above, because this doesn't feel like WWE scraps or them just picking up whatever they can and attaching, this is former WWE talent. I think this group of releases, especially, there's a little bit of, people feeling that some of these folks were wronged. And I think that what they can, and I'm speaking mainly of AEW, what AEW can grab up, I think that does position them pretty well. It puts them in a pretty good spot.
There's still talk out there that all these releases are related to Vince McMahon possibly selling and getting rid of WWE. I mean, he's already sold off the network to the Peacock. It is possible. Vince is looking to sell out. Triple H and Stephanie has sold shares. I mean, they would probably stay on and help work it, run it, whatever, but as employees versus as, owners. That's out there. I mean, I would not be surprised to hear it by the end of the year that they were sold, and that would be the story that we'd be talking about. But let's talk about what CM Punk had to say due to all these releases. In relationship to a tweet out there, you can't soar with the eagles if you're hanging with the turkeys. That comes from Miro, talking about his wife Lana getting put out. But CM Punk replied to this quote out there. One thing that has consistently bummed me out about WWE in recent years is that there's been a wealth of incredible talent in that company, but they rarely seem to really know what to do with any of it. This latest wave of releases is truly stunning reflection of that issue. Here is CM Punk's response, and normally we wouldn't do this, but I thought this was so spot on. It's so on the money. Punk says, it's like a movie with a blockbuster budget and cast, but if it's written by a creatively bankrupt nincompoops, specifically for an audience of one, in a language nobody understands anymore, it's trash. But people watch it because they like movies.
Yeah, I think that's spot on.
I don't want to believe it, but boy, that's unfortunately, as you just said, spot on. Now, let's change gears here, okay? Let's talk about Mick Foley. Mickles. And let's talk about, did you know, this is a side story here, a side trivia fact. Did you know that David Octavius, the Tiberius, the Zohan hero, has a dog named Mick Foley.
I did not.
Named after Mick. We'll have to ask Dave about it and how that's going for him. But the Mick Foley documentary on A&E just aired over the last week, and we both watched it. Matthew, I want to hear your opinion first.
I feel so very warm and fuzzy. It was a nice, heartwarming documentary, and out of all of the documentaries A&E has done, they put together some really, really good products. But this just it was really well put together. But my goodness, you just walked away from it feeling better about the world because you got this insight into Mick Foley. A lot of stuff that most professional wrestling fans are going to be familiar with. A lot of stuff that, you've heard Foley talk about before, Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
Mr. Sacco, kind of hitting the high points. But what this really gave me that I didn't necessarily have was a little bit more of a summation of, Mick Foley outside of the ring, outside of the career. I'd seen some Santa Claus stuff here and there, but my goodness, it was just... It was 180 degrees different from what you felt after watching the Warrior documentary a couple of weeks ago, or some of the ones that have been harder to watch and that have been, more ups and downs.
The Owen Hart, the Brian Pillman, those were painful.
Yeah,
and we've got a painful one coming up tonight as well. We're going to see the story of Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah. So this was and it's so interesting because when you're talking about the footage and you're talking about the brutality, probably one of the more graphic ones to watch outside of the dark side of the ring, that
beyond the mat.
Yeah. And then the dark side of the ring on I can't think of his name, but the deathmatch guy from a few
Nick
weeks
Cage.
back. Yeah.
The Gage. Sorry, not Cage or Page. Gage.
Exactly.
Please don't let him in AEW because we don't need pages, cages, and cages.
A very, very well put together one, and I just want to hug Mick Foley.
So, I think you said it already, but I want to get one more. After watching this, what is one thing you pull away from this that you did not know about Mick?
Mick Foley was a crisis counselor post-wrestling.
Isn't that cool? I mean, isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he goes, I log into the website, and the first response is, tell me why I shouldn't end it tonight. And, his wife wakes up in the morning, he's still online talking to this person. Yeah. That's fantastic.
It's amazing,
now I want to hug Mick Foley, too. I mean...
You and I can both hug Mick Foley.
Well,
dude, I'm sure he'll be in Dallas next year. That's one of our main objectives, is for you and I to both give Mick Foley a double hug.
Double hug, as long as it's not a double arm DDT. I love the constant quotes from different people about, dude, there's the last thing I want in my mouth is somebody's sock that came out of his sweaty crotch.
And according to The Undertaker, he's had better things in his mouth.
Apparently, including kale.
Yes.
I loved to watch this. I thought it was very lighthearted. So, very lighthearted considering, right? I found it ironic that Ric Flair was allowed to be on it, say what he said, but you know what? Ric Flair gave it some levity this time, because I read Ric Flair's book. I haven't read a lot of wrestling books. Mick Foley's first two and Ric Flair's are some of them. I've also read Bischoff's and Jericho's. Ric Flair called Mick Foley 100% a human stuntman, a wrestling stuntman. That's it, a crash test dummy. And he referred to it again in the documentary. And he said it to Mick, trying to get him to wake up. Look, you don't have to work that hard. That's the thing I pulled away from the first half of the documentary, that these guys were all like, wow, Mick is just doing all these spots. Dude, we're in Germany and there's 20 people here. Slow down.
Well, and here's the thing from, Flair was pretty direct with it, but in the documentary, it didn't seem like it was coming from a bad place.
Right.
It seemed like it was coming from a place.
It feels better now.
From a place from Flair out of concern. It's like, I don't want you to risk yanking your ear off, on this non-televised event.
That happened.
Yeah.
But Mick Foley put it into a promo. So
yeah, he did.
I mean, he literally said, I'm missing an ear. Look, I can't keep my glasses on because I'm missing part of my ear. That ECW stuff was gold.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And I knew of the storyline where he basically became Rest Hold Foley. But my goodness, I don't think I'd seen the actual promos of him going on the rides and this, that, and the other. My goodness, that was great, great stuff.
It was absolutely phenomenal. You know what I find from Mick Foley more than anything else is that the man is ultra talented, ultra intelligent, and very creative. And what wrestling allowed him to do was be able to put all those things together all at once. And what's amazing, even after that match with The Rock, which, he admits to maybe making a mistake and having his family there to see that, he still has all his, his thought, everything's there. I mean, we could talk about Benoit, which was tough to watch as well.
Yeah.
But Mick Foley is there and alive and kicking.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's tougher for him to get around than it would be somebody who didn't do everything that he did. But to see him have his, I was thinking the same thing, for this guy's faculties to be intact, to the extent they are. Man. Yeah, it's a great thing.
So happy to see. I'm looking forward to, and not looking forward to, tonight's Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
The Legend of Grizzly Smith, I think, is what it's being called. And really, it's a story of his dad. And for those that don't know the story, you're going to hear about it on Dark Side of the Ring. His dad was abusive. Jake had been assaulted and molested. And his dad basically says, you're worth nothing and you'll never amount to nothing. So Jake the Snake Roberts went into wrestling to be better than his dad, to prove it to him and shove it in his face. And there's a lot of dark stuff in there. I don't know, honestly, how Dark Side of the Ring is going to fit the Jake the Snake Roberts documentary in an hour.
Yeah.
Because we've seen in Beyond the Mat, we've seen a lot of Jake stuff. We've seen with, the life or the fall and resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts, where he finally found Diamond Dallas Page. And Dallas is a saint, by the way. Diamond Dallas Page should be nominated for sainthood, because that dude has resurrected the life, not just the career, the life of Jake Roberts and Scott Hall and whoever he's touched with his DDP yoga, and really, his DDP yoga house. So let's watch it tonight. We'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow, but we've also got to preview, we got Dynamite, we got SmackDown, if anybody's left on SmackDown.
Yeah, I guess we'll see very soon.
All right. For Matthew Thomas on the Manly Call Meathead, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.